Welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to our cruise around the Mediterranean on the Norwegian Epic. We've already visited so many amazing places, including Naples and the archaeological park of Pompeii, the beautiful city of Palma on Majorca, and the beaches of Ibiza. But now we are pulling into one of the busiest cruise ports on the Mediterranean, the Spanish city of Barcelona. Barcelona is widely known for its art, architecture, food, and beaches, and we were getting ready to go out and explore during our short stay in this city. Good morning, guys, and welcome to Barcelona. So this is day 6 of our cruise around the Western Mediterranean. Unfortunately, we don't have a very good view of Barcelona because we're on the wrong side of the ship, but we'll get one soon. So we don't have any excursions booked today, but we are planning to go out in Barcelona. Remember, we have been to Barcelona before, as you can see in the video and the link in the description down below. What we didn't get to see, because we were here in December, was the beach. So we're planning on just kind of taking a walk out of port or a taxi, I don't know, it looks like it's a pretty long walk, over to one of the beaches, and then hopefully we can get some tapas, because, you know, we love tapas, at a restaurant on the way back. It'll be nice to see Barcelona again. Before going out, we had to fuel up for the day in the Garden Café, the buffet restaurant on this ship. There are always tons of offerings here for breakfast, and it makes for a pretty good start to the day. We made our way off the ship and into the terminal building, which is actually really nice. It's not that surprising that this port is well appointed. After all, it does host some 3 million cruise passengers each year. At the port, it was easy to find a taxi, and we decided that we would travel up to the Barcelona casino, and then start walking back towards the port on the beach and promenade. So we're here by the beautiful Barcelona Olympic Harbor. This harbor was built in 1992 for the Olympic Games, and then behind us is the casino, the Barcelona casino. So it's really nice out right now. It's like absolutely beautiful. Yes, we're just going to take a walk down by the water, see the beaches and everything we didn't see when we were here in December. If you are taking a taxi, make sure they give you the right change, because we took a taxi from the port and it ended up being 14 euros 20 cents. And the guy gave us 80 cents back when we gave him a 20. So I caught it and I told him, hey, you know, you owe us another 5 euros. And so he gave it to us, but I imagine they do take advantage of tourists like that quite often, so just make sure you're getting the right change. Luckily, we're used to using euros because we live in Germany, but if you're not used to the coins, you might not catch it, so just to know. This was the first time this has ever happened to us in Barcelona, which is unfortunate. We've had this happen in Italy many times, so always be on the lookout for scams like this. From the harbor, we made our way to the beautiful promenade that spans nearly 5 kilometers down the beach. While the beach views were amazing, Catherine seemed to be more interested in her text messages. Catherine loves looking at the beach.
Stop. Just catching up on my correspondence.
Yeah. All jokes aside, we do take advantage of being in port to catch up on emails, calls, and texts. After all, the Wi-Fi on these NCL cruises is way too expensive, and the quality is just not good enough to justify the cost, in our opinion. Of course, when you're also on these cruise lines, you generally won't get a cell signal unless you're very close to land. Today was an absolutely gorgeous day. The sun was shining, and it wasn't too hot here. The sea was very pretty, and the sand beaches were actually kept up quite well. There are tons of piers and breakwaters that you can walk out on to get some great views of Barcelona in one direction and the sea in the other. Beautiful morning, huh? Yeah, perfect temperature. It was mid-morning, but all this walking was making us thirsty, so we started looking for a small restaurant where we could sit outside and grab a drink. I mean, it's only 10:30, but we're gonna try to get a little drink. We found this small place just off the promenade near Barceloneta, a small neighborhood on the sea. After consuming our beverages, we walked along the Barceloneta harbor, a small inlet that was filled with these rather luxurious boats and yachts. This was such a beautiful place. After imagining ourselves living the lives of a wealthy seafaring couple, we walked into the Barceloneta neighborhood. This neighborhood had its beginnings in the late 18th century as a home for those citizens displaced by the building of the Citadel of Barcelona. The Citadel no longer stands here, and it's actually now a beautiful park, but this neighborhood is still thriving. In the middle of the neighborhood is something that's very common in many Spanish cities, a large market filled with stalls selling meats, cheeses, fish, and a variety of other things. We walked around the Mercat de la Barceloneta, taking in the offerings from the vendors and reading a bit about the history of the area. After visiting the market and seeing all of the delicious things on offer, we were getting a bit hungry. We loved the architecture of this area, and it was very quiet and peaceful walking through these narrow streets. Such a small little neighborhood in Barceloneta. It's very quiet and it's really nice.
Very quaint, very quiet. The buildings are really cute.
Yeah, so we're just looking for some tapas now. Tapas, if you've never had it before, is not really a dish in itself, but is a Spanish type of meal, basically consisting of several small shared plates. There are tons of options to choose from, and you just order them all individually to create a meal for your party. In Spain, you can expect to pay between 3 to 6 euros for most dishes. If you're in some higher cost of living areas like Madrid, sometimes these go up to 10 euros per dish. But remember, you're ordering several of them, so it winds up costing about the same as a regular meal for your party as a whole. We had to start with one of our go-tos, croquettes. We also ordered some other items as well. Looks good.
So exciting.
Anchovies, spicy potatoes, 2 spice balls, and then we already had the croquettes. So we got these spicy bombas. Catherine is going to try one, because we're not sure what it is.
I have no idea. Almost looks like potatoes in the middle. I'm nervous. Looks good.
You know,
it's kind of like a croquette. It's very creamy on the inside. It's not that spicy.
It looks
and
like
I'm
it's...
a wimp.
Yeah, it's got the same kind of spice as the patatas bravas, I think. Cool. Well, I'll try mine now.
Yeah, I think you'll like it.
Yeah, it is really light. It's good. It's really good. It's not that spicy at all. But it is kind of like a croquette with a softer shell. From the restaurant, we started to walk back to the port. We knew that there was a bus into the port near the Barcelona Trade Center, which would cut about 45 minutes off of the walking time, so we planned on catching that. The Barcelona harbor is huge and it's quite disconnected from the rest of the city, so you're probably not going to be walking into Barcelona. If you are, plan on about an hour to get to where you need to go. On the way to the bus, we took in all the buildings and views along the port, and we even saw the Columbus Monument. Of course, he was pointing the way to our ship. Pro tip, if you're in Barcelona and get lost, you can always look at the direction that Columbus is pointing to get back to the port. In the opposite direction is La Rambla, an over 1 kilometer long promenade street with tons of bars, restaurants, and markets. This is another great place to visit in Barcelona, but we'd already seen this last winter, so we skipped it this time around. We found the cruise bus, which costs 3 euros per ride. If you do buy a round-trip ticket, or a day ticket as they call it, this bus only costs 4.50 euros per person. Back on the ship, we weren't quite ready to get out of the beautiful weather. The clouds started closing in, but that didn't keep us from going up and enjoying the pool deck on this ship. The Epic has 2 main pools and several hot tubs, with a huge area on deck 15 for sunbathing as well. You can also find the Waves bar up here, which serves drinks, as well as the outdoor portion of the garden cafe, called the Great Outdoors. The Great Outdoors hosts light meals and snacks throughout the day, and even into the night. There's a smaller aqua park for children here, as well as 3 slides. One of these slides is the 200-foot plunge, the first funnel slide at sea. You can also find a rock climbing wall and game rooms up here on this deck. Here you can also find Spice H2O, a pool bar and area for adults only. We did spend quite a bit of time in this area, and it was much more tranquil and quiet than the other pool areas on the same deck. All of these outdoor areas were great for watching the sail away from Barcelona. The port here itself is not very pretty, but you can see a lot of the city if you look out to the north. One of the city's main attractions is actually on a hill right near the port, the Montjuic Castle. This castle had its origins hundreds of years ago, and it served as a prison and fortress ever since. Again, we visited here last year. Anyway, we pulled away from the docks right on time and started making the long journey out of this enormous harbor. On the way, we passed by several other ships, including many cargo vessels. It's always a treat to see these ships in action. With that, we left the Spanish waters on our way to southern France. Tonight, we were dining in the Manhattan Room, one of the two main dining rooms on this ship. There's always so much to choose from on the menu, but we started with some crab-stuffed wonton appetizers. I ended up going with the schnitzel, and Catherine went with the steak and fries. Once again, both were delicious. We ended the meal with one of our favorite desserts on board, the chocolate lava cake. The next morning, we arrived in the city of Cannes. Cannes is located on the French Riviera and is one of the premier destinations in southern France. Nestled between Marseille and Nice, we thought this would be a nice place to just walk around and enjoy some time outside. Unfortunately, the weather didn't really cooperate with us here, and there were some sporadic rain showers throughout the day. We did take some time to enjoy the city, though. In fact, we also had a shore excursion booked to Monaco, but things didn't quite go our way. So we just got back from Cannes, and it was an okay port. To be honest, we didn't really have high expectations of Cannes. You know, it's a little city on the French Riviera with all the beaches and everything, so we kind of knew what to expect. Got some crepes, because those are French, and we wanted to get something we couldn't get on the ship. It did rain on us a little bit, but it was an okay day. It was a nice little port to get off the ship and see what there was out there. We had originally booked an excursion to go to Monaco because Cannes is right between kind of Marseille in the south of France and Nice and Monaco. And so we were hoping to see more than just Cannes, but our excursion got canceled. And then we would have been able to see Monaco, the Monte Carlo, the aquarium, everything that's really cool in Monaco, but that was canceled. We have actually had a terrible experience with shore excursions on this cruise in particular. We don't know quite what's going on, if they're just having issues with vendors or what, but we've had really bad luck with our shore excursions. We did have a shore excursion in Ibiza to take us to the beach, and as we already talked about, that just seemed like a waste of our money. Another shore excursion that we booked, which was the Pompeii on Your Own, which was basically $40 for a bus transfer from the Naples port to Pompeii. Originally, we booked for 8:30 a.m., which we thought, okay, it's early, but we'll get there, and then we can get dropped off back in Naples and enjoy some time in Naples. Well, what they actually did was change the time on the ticket to 1:30 p.m., so we had to meet at 1:30 p.m. We got no notification of this. We still thought, and all of our documents showed, that we had to meet at 8:30 in the morning. So we were ready to do that. And then we saw that it was actually 1:30. We went down to the shore excursion desk, and they said, oh yes, the vendor changed this on us. This kind of ruins our whole day, because now we would have to go into Naples, walk around Naples, enjoy ourselves in Naples, come back to the ship, and then go on this excursion. Otherwise, we wouldn't have any time on the back end to see Naples. So we ended up just canceling that. And because we never got any notification or anything, they kind of waived their 48-hour rule and gave us refunds for that, which was good. But it shouldn't have happened in the first place. And then, of course, this one today got canceled. Also, just a general note, it seems like it's really disorganized with the shore excursions, just disembarking the ship, shore excursions getting priority over other people getting off the ship, but everyone still has to go to the auditorium, and it's just chaos. So what we have ended up doing in a lot of these ports is just kind of planning our own transportation. So you can always get your own public transportation. We're going to do the same thing in Florence because we have a lot of time there. The thing is, if you have a time constraint, it is probably better to go with the ship's excursion, because if your excursion is late, they have to get you back to the ship on time. And if they don't get you back to the ship on time and you miss the ship, they have to bear the cost of getting you to the next port. So that's one thing, that if you have a really tight time frame, it's usually better to go with shore excursion on the ship. Otherwise, you can always just go out on your own. And we would recommend that in a lot of cases because a lot of times the shore excursions with the ship are 3, 4, 5 times more expensive than it would be if you just planned it on your own. Getting back on the ship after our day in Cannes, we decided to take in some more music and entertainment before going to dinner. Each day, you'll be given a copy of the Freestyle Daily. Here you can find deals on the ship, highlights of activities going on, dining and show schedules, as well as a full agenda of what's going on the ship. We always looked over this document during breakfast so we can pick and choose what we wanted to do that day. Tonight we were going to one of the oddest shaped venues we found on a cruise ship so far, the Spiegel Tent. The Spiegel Tent is a circus tent themed venue with a semicircular seating pattern and a stage in the middle of the floor. It was quite odd, but we really did enjoy the musician here, who played a tribute to Elton John. After the show, it was time for dinner once again, and we found ourselves in the main dining room, Taste. There are always tons of options on the menu, and we decided to start with some spinach and artichoke dip with chips, as well as some other appetizers. Looks good. Catherine got the bruschetta, which we've had already, but it's really good. I got the clam chowder, so we'll see how this is. For the main dishes, I got the shrimp pasta with vodka sauce, which was divine. Catherine went with the prime rib, another home run. We had no issues cleaning our plates tonight. We also could not pass up dessert. Now that we've gotten through our day in Cannes, we will fast forward a bit to the last night of our cruise. This cruise also stopped in Livorno, Italy, located on the northwest side of the peninsula, just south of the Cinque Terre. It's right near another popular cruise port, La Spezia. Livorno for us was the gateway to Pisa and Florence, and we were here overnight, so we were able to experience both of these amazing cities. However, we didn't really do any excursions with the cruise line, so we're going to save our visit for another video. Regarding the port of Livorno, we do have to say that there was some rather unpleasant side effects of visiting this port, mainly due to a lack of communication between NCL and its guests. For one, the casino was closed for 3 nights in a row after Cannes because we were in Italian territorial waters. This was not communicated at all to the guests. Some guests still had casino vouchers and chips that they were holding on to until the last night of the cruise when we were sailing from Livorno back to Civitavecchia. However, we were informed 3 nights before the cruise ended, after the casino had already closed, that the casino would not open again until the next cruise. The second side effect was that liquor could no longer be served while we were in Livorno, only wine and beer. This didn't really affect us at all. After all, we didn't really upgrade our drinks packages, so we were drinking beer and wine anyway. However, there were many guests that brought up the fact that they purchased premium beverage packages, and they were still charged for every night of the cruise. If you're not familiar with how premium beverages are charged, there's a daily cost, and depending on what this daily cost is, the cruise line will figure out a total charge for your entire cruise. We aren't quite sure how this resolved itself for these guests, but many were still upset when we disembarked in Civitavecchia once more, so we're guessing they didn't get any refunds for these days where they couldn't actually purchase any beverages in their premium package. Once again, the communication of this ahead of time was non-existent. We were only notified when we arrived in territorial waters, and the bartenders placed signs on their bars saying that the purchase of spirits was forbidden. Anyway, let's rejoin our cruise after we left the port of Livorno, and we're on our way back to Civitavecchia on the last night. We really wanted to see the Beatles cover band that's on this ship. This band is called the Epic Beatles. The Epic Beatles are known for their true-to-life imitation of the real Beatles and their amazing stage presence. Usually they'll hang out in the Cavern Club, but once or twice per cruise they put on a show in the Epic Theater. Tonight was that night. Ugh, it's the last day. Last day, guys.
So sad.
Yeah. I know, we've been packing a little bit.
Yeah.
We actually just went and saw the Epic Beatles. They're called the Epic Beatles, but it's like a Beatles cover band / impersonator group. And they're always on this ship. They're in the Cavern Club, and then they also do a show once a cruise in the Epic Theater. And they were amazing.
They were really good. Yeah.
They were awesome. It was a lot of fun. It was a really good show.
And the theater was very full, so you can tell it's a popular show.
Yes,
yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, so that was awesome. We had a great night. We had a great day today in Pisa. So yeah, now we're just packing. We're going to spend a few more hours down, taking in the ship, getting the last bits out of this cruise that we can before we dock and have to be off the ship by 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. So yeah, we've had a great cruise, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.